Hello everybody. Alright, so today I have a really special treat for you. We are going to check out this order that I got online for these Christian Louboutin Socate shoes. So this is a really kind of different video than what I normally do, but we are going to be going over why this pair of shoes is a total fake. And these are actually some really great fakes. So I'm gonna go through and kind of show from top to bottom what are all the flaws and all the kind of tells of this pair of shoes as to why they are totally fake. All right, so right off the bat, the box is totally wrong. So they have this kind of pinstriped appearance throughout the box, but it actually looks like it has been glued onto the cardboard box, so just like a regular shoe box, but it's kind of been taped on. So I'll do a side-by-side comparison here in just a second, but this is so that is kind of off. The print is kind of off, but that wasn't the first giveaway. The lid in and of itself, as far as I'm aware, there are no Louboutin boxes that have red color on the inside, and they do not have this imprint, this embossed Louboutin logo on there either. So you can kind of tell it's been glued. It's kind of like a wrapping paper almost that's been glued onto this box. So that was the first giveaway. Also, I guess this is harder to, this would be like a less easy giveaway because I've seen all kinds of stickers on the boxes before, but this is totally off. Like this font type is different than any stickers that I've seen from Louboutin before. Other things on the box itself, you can kind of tell that there's just kind of this wrapping that's coming undone. So all in all, this was just a totally fake box from the very beginning. All right, so I just wanted to compare with a real box. So this is the real box, and it also has kind of that stripe throughout. The logo, the paint is just, it's not, it's pretty thickly painted on there, which is different than the fake box. And actually, when I look at this box, so this wrapping paper has also been glued on here, but you can tell they just did a much better job. There are no edges that are coming undone, and from the outside you can't even tell unless you look on the inside. So this is the inside of a real box. There's no red on the inside, so there's that. And then the sticker that I was mentioning before, so here is the authentic, so this font is just totally different. So I'll do some more side-by-side comparisons with the actual shoe in just a second, but the other thing is this was supposed to be a pair of Socates, and instead it says Lewis and Luck Flat Velours, which is a totally different shoe. And this is the terminology that Louboutin uses, but this is just the totally like wrong box for this shoe, which I guess isn't the biggest tip off, but this was just another thing that was off with this pair of shoes. This pair of shoes in particular is going to be going back because I can already tell just as soon as I open the box, like you can just smell tons of smoke. So this was definitely from a smoker. You know, no judgment on you, but I just don't want to buy, and I know that customers do not want to buy items that have a smoke smell to them. So if this had been disclosed, I would have not purchased. So just for that reason alone, this pair of shoes is going to be going back. So we'll just get started with some of the extraneous materials that come in here with these shoes to kind of make them look authentic. So we have all of these care instructions, which some of the authentic Louboutins can come with, I believe, but the font on here, it just looks like it's not done very well, like it's done quickly, like they didn't use a lot of ink, and that's just not customary of kind of the quality of what Louboutin does. So this is a card. This is a dead giveaway. Louboutins do not come with these types of cards. And then there's some additional kind of stuff, which again is just kind of a giveaway because the font is just terrible. They didn't use enough ink. It just totally looks not like any Louboutin invoice that I've ever seen. And you know, maybe that this might have come from like another retailer, but it says that it came from Louboutin, and I haven't seen any of their invoices look like this. The font is just kind of off. And I know that's a little bit more subjective, but all of these were just kind of red flags from the get-go. All right, so now getting to the actual shoes themselves. So they're definitely patent, and I would say that the stitching actually looks pretty good. And actually, I think the thing that, so the shape is definitely very accurate to the Socate. The heel is slim, just like the regular Socate is. The heel also has these small perforations, which the authentic Loubs have. One thing on the heel though is there's this kind of leather, red leather that's been glued onto the back of the heel. That's pretty typical for all the Loubs, but they did not do a good job in gluing this onto the heel stem. So it's kind of off center, and that's just kind of a very poor craftsmanship, something that Louboutin would never do. So there's that. The stitching and the seams just don't quite come together, and I think that's harder to tell. And I wish I had a pair of Socates side by side to show you guys the difference. Unfortunately, I do not at the moment. But these seams just don't quite come together. Also, the stitching, even though it is even, it just kind of looks slightly irregular, slightly off. I will say that, and pardon how gross these shoes are. By the way, if you're selling shoes online like this, give them a little wipe down before you send them. That's just kind of gross, but whatever. I am okay with a little toe jam. That's fine. I can clean that up. I'm not worried about it. But so I apologize that you guys have to see that, but there you have it. So one other thing that was done really well on this shoe is actually the inside of the shoe. The padding and the leather back here all looks very customary of Louboutin. So they did that part well. But, and I would say even the gold stamp on the inside looks correct to me, but let me bring a pair of authentic shoes side by side and show you guys. All right, so here I have a pair of the Fiorella, I think I'm saying that correctly. Here is the gold stamp on the inside. I mean, these have been definitely worn a lot less than these ones, so probably some of the wear is just due to that. I would say that if you're looking at these close-up side by side, some additional things that will tell you that these are not authentic is the spacing of the gold print here for that word Paris there. So a lot skinnier letters, more space in between than there is on the Fiorella. What else? I think this stamp actually looks pretty good. I think you could say that some of this wear is just due to the item being worn, and that's why it's not imprinted as well. So I would say they got that part right. One thing that I can't really convey via video screen, Loubs are just a higher quality shoe, and it's hard to really relay that unless you feel the shoe. But this shoe just is so much better constructed than this shoe is. And unfortunately, you're not gonna appreciate that other than just kind of handling some of these shoes on your own. All right. Another thing that I'm noticing kind of as I go through, there is some kind of form underneath this patent leather, and I don't know if you can appreciate, but there's just kind of like a little uneven edge here where I can tell that they're using to shape the point toe of the shoe. Real Socates do not have that, and it's not from wear, it's just from how the shoe is constructed. So that's kind of a dead giveaway too. And I would say it's maybe harder to see on this one, but definitely that is happening here. So let's see. It looks like they got this guy even, this leather back here, but they weren't able to cut it kind of correctly where the heel tip comes together. So that's a giveaway as well. And then finally, I think the most obvious things about these Socates are their leather soles. So Louboutin is known for their classic characteristic red leather soles, and for some reason this is just really hard for people to replicate, which I appreciate because it's a great way to figure out if your item is a fake or not. So I would say that this shoe, they did a better job, or you know, they're trying to be much more sneaky, because some of these leather soles that I've noticed on some of the other replicas, they're plastic, or once the red paint is kind of worn through and you've worn them a couple of times, they can either look yellow underneath, or it'll just be whatever color of the plastic is that's not this color here. And this this kind of beige cardboardy looking color almost is what the real leather soles will look like underneath once the paint is worn off. And so here you would almost be fooled, and part of the reason that I was fooled honestly when I bought these, because this wear looks like normal Louboutin wear, and when you have like a weird picture online and you can't quite appreciate kind of the shine of the leather, the red leather soles, you just kind of have the wear to go by sometimes. And so that to me initially was, I thought that that was real. So that's something to be wary of. However, the thing that gives these guys away is the polish of the red paint. So it's kind of this matte color, or this matte finish to the leather, which is not typical of Louboutins. So let's look at these Theodorellas. So I don't know if you can appreciate, but there is just a red gloss that's just shiny, that just shines off of that red leather sole. Now I would say that color is not a great thing to go by, because there are variations in the eras of Louboutin and the paints that they used. And so I see sometimes people say, oh well, I know that these are fake because look at the color of this shoe, you know, this is not typical. But actually, you know, they've changed over the years. They've used kind of different tones and colors of red, and so decade to decade, or maybe even less than a decade period of time, they don't always have the same color, so you can't really go by that. But anyways, I hope that you can at least appreciate. These guys are just have this shiny finish to the leather. These do not. This is a matte color. All right, and then the final thing, oh, and actually since we have the bottoms of the shoe here, so here is where there's that cardboard tan beige color underneath, and we see that on these ones as well. So I think that they kind of did that pretty well. So you can see it's kind of, it wears the same underneath the paint. It's kind of the same finish, and so it can kind of fool you, so be careful. All right, and then so finally getting to the stamp, which is sometimes the best way to tell. I think that the soles give away a lot. So let's look at this stamp here. So you can just tell it's, the text is almost different, the made in Italy, but we'll compare in just a second. And then this imprint, this embossing here is just not stamped deep enough. And I know that could be kind of like a hard thing to tell, but it really, the stamps are always very deep. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I hope that you can appreciate, like the stamp in there is just a little bit deeper, just looks like it was done with much more care than this one was. And the font of the Made in Italy is just a little bit more square on this shoe than it is on this shoe. Again, I think hard to probably appreciate on my iPhone camera, but there you have it. And then the number, the text of the number I think is pretty similar in this case, so that would be kind of harder to tell. However, the stamp is a great place to look, and the shine and color of those, sorry, not the color, the finish of that red leather sole can be such a dead giveaway for real and fake Louboutins. So there you have it, guys. I hope that that was educational. I hope that you can use this video for the next time that you buy some Louboutins online and you want some assistance in making sure that they are authentic. Definitely go out there and look for more resources. There's so many resources online that you can use to learn, but I think ultimately you just kind of need to get a pair in your hands to really feel it out and get an idea of what is real and what is fake. All right, guys, thank you so much.